Maybe something spicy that they're cooking in the mid lane.
I'm curious. I'm very curious. Xin Zhao has to be the immediate pickup here by FPX, I would think. It is a kind of the dueling fates of the Vi versus Xin Zhao that we've seen as of late. It's the Skarner instead. Xin Zhao, not even the play. Gonna go with the Ambessa Skarner double lock-in for FPX.
Yeah, and I mean, this now opens up for a potential sort of disengage style composition for you, Ultra Prime, right? Where you see so much engage super early on. Definitely a window for you to try and take something.
Renata, maybe?
Yeah, exactly. Focused on keeping people at bay. But Ultra Prime just say, none as to that. We're going...
Dive.
Yeah, we'll join you, actually. We will just have no backline. Well, how about that?
Get the Zed in here. Just do it. Get it back in here. Let's see what happens. If you do want a little bit of dive, though, to pair up, you need some kind of mid-jungle duo for Junhao and Saber.
Ahri?
I think Junhao has been, kind of pillar for the team in a lot of ways. Camille is the lock-in here into the Ambessa, it looks like, for Xiang.
Yes, this is like a hybrid of A, an answer for the Ambessa, but B, something that synergizes really well with the composition.
Yeah.
Renekton is your go-to answer for Ambessa, but the Camille gets locked in as a pseudo answer. Not nearly as good as the Renekton, but can also dive very well, much better at diving, in fact, than the Renekton. So locking in the Camille here gives Ultra Prime access to whatever it is that FPX are looking to draft for themselves. And for the time being, we are just 6 champions that are all going to butt heads.
Yep. I love that Care goes for a classic for him in the Sylas. Pretty good melee mid player as we've seen as of late, but the Sylas unlocking him here now. Also was hovering the Ahri, knowing that that could be a potential combo for them in the mid jungle for Ultra Prime, and being able to take away that Spirit Rush would be very nice. Now we're in the second phase of bans. It's the AP focus right now for FPX. They ban away the Ziggs. We'll see if any of those kind of team fight supports are going to be the focus right now for Ultra Prime, the first one being the Braum.
Okay, so Braum gets locked in, suggests that they're immediately looking for some sort of engage, like a Nautilus first off, to maybe look for, something that wants to fight aggressively, doesn't want to get pummeled by Braum passives on its entry. The Aurora taken off the board actually from Ultra Prime, so happy if they want to go for something aggressive in that support pick. Happy as well for them to lock Ahri in, like you alluded to earlier, Mazel. So with the disengage options taken off the board, yeah, I mean, FPX had that choice, but FPX decided to go against it.
They did indeed. See if they're going to be able to pick up anything with the stragglers on the support setup. Could just be the Rakan, if it is going to be anything. The Xayah is the lock-in for Assume. It is a comfort pick for him for sure, and also providing some safety to that dive that Ultra Prime are bringing.
Yeah, it's one of those, you can immune the Vi ulti, you can actually also immune Camille ulti if you time it right, so there's some really, really good interactions available to Assume if he gets on top of it. But my concern is that there's only so many things that you can use Featherstorm for, and Ultra Prime are seemingly doubling and tripling and quadrupling down on their dive. A True Shot Barrage over the top as well is just adding insult to injury, so there are so many tools available to Ultra Prime to get to this backline. And then the question is, what support does Assume have? Because there's no way that he can get a dive pick to go in with it. He's got this Xayah to be left alone with. I mean, Rakan's a great lovers duo, but you think about it in practicality, Rakan's also probably going to be diving, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a little difficult. I don't read too much into it. I know he hovered the Poppy. I think it'd be hilarious if they thought they could pick Poppy here, and they're like, "Oh, this is this is it. This is the. Oh, wait, it's gone.
Sir,
this is fearless,
fearless,
by the way.
Excuse me. The referee's just tapping on glass.
This is perfect setup to get us to 3 games. That's all I'm saying, Roodood. I think Ultra Prime are really well set for themselves on that blue side.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, right, is that they've got this really aggressive composition. If it fails, if it falters, though, through this early game, through that level 6 marker, they're probably just going to get DPS checked at a certain stage because they are without really a tank shred. Camille, maybe you could argue, can get through the Skarner, but again, if my Camille's focusing the Skarner, something's gone severely wrong. So trying to keep our eyes on how well they can get through the front line that FPX have drafted for themselves, because that is the real discrepancy between these two teams. Yes, they're both very dive-centric with AD carries that are attempting to peel for themselves, but there's an element more of the front line for FunPlus.
It is indeed. I'm really curious to see exactly how Shadow navigates this one. I think I'm looking at the proactivity from the side of Ultra Prime to get the ball rolling for themselves. I know Akali really needs that kind of level 6 mark to get the ball rolling for her, but I want to see a lot of proactivity, at least from Junhao on the Vi, to get some control of the map, to get some control for Ultra Prime in this series. And as we go into it, it is match point for FPX. If they can win here, they are automatically into Group Ascend. If Ultra Prime can bring us to 3, we got a series on our hands.
First little smatterings of chants from the crowd as well there, as we're starting to, get into the weeds of the evening, and knowing that this game in particular could very well be the final one that we play for today.
Let's be real.
Ninth team. I know, could be.
Let's be real.
We're going 3. It's the LPL way, is that we go for 3.
It's the LPL way. Ooh, the double grasp. Interesting.
Yeah, and especially for the junglers, or for Shadow, I should then say as well. Really, putting a little bit of emphasis on the scrapping that he's going to be doing.
Yeah, and into a Vi, I kind of appreciate that, because Vi typically likes to either take invasive jungle paths or just be a menace with early ganks as well. Looks like we're going to be getting mirrored side stars for both junglers, though, so maybe some differentiation in the focus they want to bring.
Mazel, am I seeing Unleash in 2025?
You are seeing Unleash made.
Assume?
Maybe? Did he?
Jwei?
Did they actually? Yeah.
Looks like it.
It looks like they did.
Maybe
Maybe it's like a level 3 gank bot.
Yeah, like trying to power clear Shadow through and make it so that he's a little bit further ahead of the curve than Junhao. I mean, eyes on Shadow now on that minimap. What is the thought process? What is the attention that they're putting on this jungler super early on to try and outpace the Vi by so much?
Yeah, it is curious. See what it pays. We might not actually get a payoff all that much just yet. It is looking like just full clear setup. Not going to be any kind of level 3 stop-offs for Shadow, at least. But I will say he's heading away from this bot lane, and bot lane's going to be under pressure very heavily against that Ezreal Rel combo, as we get very heavy trades in mid lane too.
Yeah, I mean, both of these mid laners, like, next round of cooldowns are going to be very important. Double potion popped by Care, second potion still in inventory for Saber, who looks to be, for the time being,
Shadow.
a bit more bold.
Oh, he gets the Abscon, potentially. Looking for the Abduct, doesn't get it. The flash coming out from Saber saves his life.
Okay. So, small things, small victory here, but it's going to be a victory well earned by FPX, and Care, with some good trades in the early stages of the game, forces Saber out. Now, if that's what the gank was for, or the leash was for, then very well spent, but this is Junhao getting now an advantage in tempo. Shadow spent his time mid lane instead of clearing his camp, so going to be forfeiting probably that top side crab as well as that bot side one. Junhao going to know that he's got the opportunity to cross back up to this top side if he wants to, whilst the Skarner still clears his camps.
See if that's the decision they want to make. A couple pings coming out. At least the direction from Junhao is down towards bot side. Does end up throwing the missing ping up there towards that top scuttle. And we actually see now double crash down on bot side. Little blade collar action there from Assume. Gets some damage on Wako. And nice mystic shots to rain some back. It is just a back and forth in this 2v2. Can lead out to a nice little snowball for them if they can end up getting any advantages there. Shadow does scoop up that top lane scuttle. Saber and Care, the premier show right now that Shadow has his eyes on.
Yeah, and you can see Saber just sort of expecting Skarner to be on the top side, trying to hover away from it.
Ooh, gets him. Waiting for the Abscon to dunk. Now Saber's in trouble. No flash at first blood for FPX and Care.
And I love that from Shadow, just knowing, okay, well, Shroud's down. He's got no flash. Best he can do is Shuriken Flip, but that's also been used in the trade, so it's just going to be an easy pickup. Walks out of the lane into it and decides that that's where he can start channeling his E. No way for the Akali to interrupt it, and overall, very well played. Shadow making his mark felt early on for a second game in a row.
And it's not on the Nefiri this time either. I will say, though, his bot lane is feeling worse for wear. They are still even with CS. The push and the priority is definitely in favor of Ultra Prime consistently. Dragon is coming up on the table. We've seen these teams not really put a focus towards that early. It's more so the Grubs that have taken prio for both these squads today.
Okay, and you can tell that this mid lane matchup has been altered. Care had that early Dark Seal, right? So he's now 2 stacks on that from the kill, and Saber landing the Shuriken flip instead of taking it, getting a good little chunk of damage there, opts into just sort of tanking it. Now Care spots out that this Drake is being started, and Junhao going to get nothing for all this, so that's a lot of time spent where he doesn't actually net any advantage.
He's going to try to wrap back around. Oh, it just barely resets. Does end up only getting back up to about half health, though. Jwei is here. Care going to move down. Oh, God, he's level 6. Oh, that's terrifying. He's going to back off. All right, it's fine.
They'll be fine. Fortunately, I mean, they can just hop out over the wall, and that makes it okay in the end, because they do get the dragon. It's, again, a little bit of time wasted, and I think that about evens up the tempo in the junglers as well, because Shadow spent a lot of time trying to clear mid lane, to be honest, as opposed to clear his camps, and finally Junhao spends a bit of time clearing the Drake instead of clearing their camp. So both of our junglers about on even footing as Shadow heads toward these Void Grubs, your standard trade. And again, as we move a little bit later on into this game, denying Void Grubs from Camille is a very, very powerful tool. This champion will beat the Ambessa in side lane, will beat the Sylas in side lane, and will start Cho'Gath ulting turrets on a 3-4 second cooldown if given the opportunity to. So taking those Grubs away, definitely a valuable asset.
It is indeed. Oh, the Abscon of Duck combo. Got a little bit wide there from Care under the Shroud. Tried to guess where he was. Not going to be able to find him that time around. Assume, though, he might have to flat. Oh, okay.
Like it.
It's all the bait.
It's the mind game, right? Like, if he channels Q and baits flash.
Okay. Oh, really good time on the Hextech ultimatum. It will be down now, though.
Connects
okay,
on the
double
shattering strike.
That time, you know, it sticks. Blade Caller used too. Wako able to get some serious damage down onto FPX bot lane. There will be a back initiated by Xiaoxia.
So trade of ignites there, and that probably prevents any sort of dive coming through as well, because Xiaoxia is so low on HP, but it gives us Zoom time to free farm this wave under the turrets. Two-shot barrage.
Barely
wouldn't
gets
have killed.
Out. Wow.
Oh, but I mean, BF versus Sheen as well. You wouldn't expect these trades to be going so favourably for Ultra Prime. This is an Ezreal who, yes, with Sheen can do some good damage, but BF Sword on Azaya is a really big spike in the early game and should really be looking to leverage that as an advantage.
Not been able to do so just yet. Now Saber is looking for a play onto Care, waiting for Care to overextend, but it was a little too obvious. Ultra Prime just going to try to push in this wave.
Yeah, everybody just turns up in the mid lane there, and I think that Care may even still fancy it a little bit with the Akali's ultimate. Does give Assume a chance now to push in the spot wave, catch a recall, and regenerate some of that health, some of that mana that he was missing. Makes it so that the early damage that we got to see just in that fight down on that bot side, not as impactful, not as important. Xiaoxia now, when he walk up, doesn't have an ignite to stop the recall, so would just be killing himself by walking under that turret.
Let's go take a stop in the island. Let's go see what these fellows are up to up here in Xi'an.
How long do I have to stay?
Not very long.
Cool.
Who wins? Because it's been the most even fight fest up there that I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, at a certain stage, the Camille just locks the Ambessa and the Hextech ultimatum, and then all the dashes, all the kiting that Ambessa can do doesn't really matter because Camille just stands in the middle and chops you. So it turns into the Camille's favour at some point. Not going to pretend like I know when, but you know, at some stage, I'd expect the Camille to start winning.
All right, we'll see if that side lane pressure can actually pay out for something for Ultra Prime. Care, just like Saber was the focus early from old FPX, it looks like Care has caught in the eye of Junhao. That's multiple times they've tried to get him caught out, but they can't do it. Yeah,
I was going to say, he was spotted there, so Junhao definitely flexing a little too early. Now Care has no stolen Kali ulti, though. This is the opportunity, this is the window for Ultra Prime to try and make a play onto him. Maybe you can steal cease and desist, sure, but that's an ulti that is not going to be available for a good amount of time, and gives Saber really a good opportunity to start trying to find some scraps.
Yeah, we got grubs coming up in about 45 seconds. I mean, next dragon in a minute, but the grubs are really where we're focusing on because FPX with 6 grubs would be very nice to have. Jwei getting caught out a little early. That control ward is not worth it there, bud. He just got 100 to 0. Gonna flash, gonna burn, not gonna die. Here comes the hook shot, though. Hextech ultimatum. They're impale over the wall. Sheer just getting damage down. Junhao getting low, too. Sheer getting more kills. Sheer popping off. FPX, they've lit a fire under their butts, and that fire's burning Ultra Prime. Can't get that grand entrance, but you'll take that fight. It's now 2-0 early for FPX.
And in a fight that starts with Jwei getting caught out hitting a pink ward, it's FPX that come out with the 1 for 0. A great impale from Shadow buys time and keeps Sheer alive, and some great kiting from the FPX roster just baits in Ultra Prime just barely close enough to the point that they can get taken down.
And that's going to be all 6 grubs going the way of FPX2. The siege is going to be 9. We take a look at this. He doesn't even get the ward, by the way.
No, I know. He's just greeting. He's doing full support antics. Like, yeah, I'm Rakan. I can get this ward and get out. But everybody commits so much to try and make him die. Xiaojia flashes with the Magnet Storm to get that. And then ulti from over the wall from Shadow just pulls Junhao out. Means that he can't contribute to the damage. And actually, Sheer turns it back around. I think it must have been Jwei's Ignite that took out the kill in the end, which is a little unfortunate. But keeping your Ambessa alive, keeping your Skarner on the board, exactly what you want. And for FPX right now, they are very happy with the state of this game. Yuntal finished for Assume. You've got Wako, who's not quite finished his Trinity Force out just yet. They've just taken 6 Void Grubs. So they are maybe not necessarily snowballing their way to a victory, but they've got a 1k gold lead and everybody's on fairly good footing.
Not too bad. And Shadow's full dopamine gamer right now. He's got the Grasp, which he got stacked in that top fight. He's also got the Heartsteel now. So full tankiness, but with that dopamine added on top of it. Jwei gonna catch out Xiaoxia. He's gonna pop the quickness. I think Xiaoxia is in trouble here. Shadow looking for the knock-in, but that Magnet Storm is gonna be big. Impale into the combo from Care. They have a lot of damage, and it's gonna be another Jwei kill. The guy's just got 2 now on the Rakan.
Yeah, that's an auto attack or something that probably shouldn't have taken a kill, but Xiong now the focus on the top side. Vi is here.
From mid to top to bot to anywhere. FPX will follow you and take you down. They're under turret. They're Sheer. One more auto.
It's Saber's time.
Oh, this is where FPX just absolutely threw their entire lead for a top lane play that didn't even work out. Saber gets a double kill.
Teleporting in under the turret, saving his top laner and finding 2 kills in the process. That is the Akali way, and that is exactly what Saber needed. Had been struggling this game, was down the barrel of a very, very scary Sylas who had that proto belt, or at least had the components, feeling very, very dangerous and quite threatening the Akali throughout the majority of this game.
3 games, 3 games, 3 games.
And Junhao was here, he was ready, he read this. The Hextech Ultimatum, invulnerables for a little bit, buys enough time, cease and desist locks up somebody under the turret as well. Just a little bit too much taken, too much bitten off there by FPX, and they didn't have the chops to take it.
Could have just backed off. Could have just had safety, but they wanted more. They wanted to find.
Well, it's because Jwei's been taking all the kills, man. They need to get kills on other people, so they're searching for them.
They're like, man, we just still haven't gotten another kill besides Care in the actuality of things. It is going to be, though, a setup now where we have to think about dragon stacking, because Ultra Prime, with this next dragon in about 2.5 minutes, would be on soul point of yet another infernal soul, by the way. And I think that'd be pretty huge for their comp, especially for Wako.
Yeah, absolutely. If Wako can get that, that's just an insane addition to the poke. Don't get me wrong, there are 3 other damage dealers that will all love an Infernal Soul on Ultra Prime's side, so don't go counting their blessings out, because an Akali with Infernal Soul, just ease my AD carry and they die, right?
Yeah. It's going to be so difficult to deal with, and that's why I really liked Ultra Prime's composition, because it seems like FPX are beating themselves at this point, and it behooves Ultra Prime to kind of let things sit a little bit and have some of these items start to come through and have some of these breakpoints.
I love that vocabulary, Mazel. Behooves. Yes. Yeah. Yes, it does. It does exactly that,
Yes, it
actually. It does exactly that.
Move so much.
And especially when they're, FPX are in this position where they are just one game away from being in that Ascent group and, potentially having a good enough season to try and take some games away from the top dogs of the LPL. Hold on, Shadow.
I don't think they can get him, though. Yeah, Saber's a scary bunch to grab. He will just have his perfect execution, get a lot of damage on the way out. The Rift Herald spawning in 40 seconds. Jwei get caught in transition here. Looks like topside is where Ultra Prime want to pull the attention of FPX.
Yeah, I mean, if they lose Herald and 6 scrubs, that's going to be pretty detrimental for Ultra Prime. Probably means just a secure turret in some area of the map. Fortunately, though, so far, it really doesn't look like there's been any emphasis from FunPlus in taking down those turrets, right? They've got 6 scrubs, but they haven't really been hitting on any of those objectives. So it's so far so good for Ultra Prime. They've got 2 Drakes to the good. They're just waiting. They're quite happy stacking those up with Drake spawning in 30 seconds time. They'll be able to attempt, you would like to think, a 3rd play. And I think that's going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back here, one way or the other.
Sheer taking a little bit of an all-in into Xiang, but just to get him away from the dragon setup of FPX. Looks like all attention now has readapted from Ultra Prime to try to contest this dragon. Again, this is soul point for them on an Infernal Soul. Massive decision-making priority there if you can get this one.
So first items finished across the board for everybody of note. Important disparity here is that Zhao has got that Zeet finished, where Jwei, even with those 2 kills, is still sat just on a Kindle gem.
They're just giving it.
Yeah, they're going to concede that, so that's soul point going, and what can FPX get from this? Well, it's going to be an attempt at a Herald on the top side. Not really an opportunity for them to hit too many waves. Maybe Assume can go mid lane after this and try and take down that turret. But Ultra Prime, they'll take the dragon. They'll put themselves onto that 3-0. FPX so far yet to reply.
And there's the timer now. I mean, not only for this Rift Herald to hurry up and get done, but 5 minutes until that Infernal Soul fight that FPX definitely need to be at. I mean, like you said earlier, an Infernal Soul with this Ultra Prime comp is so deadly. So trying to utilize this Rift Herald in that in-between time, maybe even save the Rift Herald to use it as a distractionary play when that Dragon Soul is coming up.
And we just continue with this, honestly, fairly slow-paced game where there's not too much action for kills, and you can sort of feel that Ultra Prime maybe in that last game were a little hard done by how aggressive they tried to be, and that got ultimately bounced back on them. This time taking a much more measured approach, and
Oh my
John
God.
underneath his tier 1 turret. You can see Jwei, Shadow sort of sniffing around trying to find something, but it sort of smells of desperation a little bit here.
It really does. Like, why are they even trying? Remember what happened last time you tried this? You threw away your 2,000 gold lead and gave 1,000 gold lead to Ultra Prime.
Yeah, so maybe we quash that a little bit, and it seems that has reached them. Now they've received that memo. But we're waiting now probably for a good couple of minutes, right? We're waiting for 3 items onto the Xayah, who's opted into this Zeal second, which is probably definitely one of the routes you can go, but curbs your build path and makes it so that you're not hitting that 2-item spike of IE plus Yuntal super early on. Just really valuing the attack speed for the Xayah here going to be the case, and maybe if it's Flicker Blades, yeah, second, that kind of makes a little bit of sense. So you're going to have more damage from your Blade Caller, but we are very delayed on Infinity Edge, or just not getting there in any time soon.
Second item might be something. Yeah, that 3rd item is definitely what is looming large here. Get a little bit of push from Wako in mid lane. Junhao hovering over this top side as well of this fight. And I do wonder, though, with the Adicon coming up as well, neither team really has the damage, like at least right now or even anytime really soon, to kind of burn any of these big objectives, be it the Baron or the Adicon. Obviously the Baron not for a long while. So do you expect that the kind of Elder fight, which we're probably, if the Soul is taken by Ultra Prime, we're going to have very, very shortly, like these big objectives are going to be hard for both teams to kind of fight over?
Yeah, I mean, it will come down to those thresholds on items, and And importantly, second one has just been hit for Junhao. FPX currently, though, with a bit of an overload into the top side. They're sacrificing a little bit of their prio in the mid lane or that bot lane. And with this Herald going down as well, maybe they're making a bit of an epic play. They've got 6 grubs, remember, so 2 turrets top side, definitely worth going for.
Only get the charge off, though. Very interesting from FPX there.
Deep TP as well. Look at the minimap.
This is tough. I mean, FPX, they're in a really tough position here. Wombo combo there. They don't have any hope in this one. Assume is free firing though, but look at Saber. He is ripping them to shreds. Assume gets the play on a Saber. That's massive. Wako is still there, but there's
Flash
still
on.
4 members of Ultra Prime, and I said we're going to 3, and Ultra Prime are making it happen.
A collapse into the topside jungle. That's Ultra Prime, 5 members of FPX. And with only 1 being responded to, the Atacon will be their prize. Overzealous from FPX and underprepared.
Underprepared and under-executed, I guess is a nice way to put it. This is, they put themselves in this position, and that TP flank was massive.
Yeah, just catching everybody off FPX just a little bit off guard. Double Magnet Storm starts it out, and this TP, even though she is able to come in and find a public execution, it's not quite in time. Zhaozia able to flash out, buys a lot of space for his team, and Assume is doing great work, trying to take down whoever he can, but gets immediately snapped by Junhao. That Vi combo, crispy clean, nothing like the Poppy we saw earlier on. And really just ready to go take down whatever he can. The time that needs to be bought for Assume to take this game by the reins is long, and I don't know that they've got it in them when there's an Infernal Soul spawning in 15 seconds.
Yeah, I think the backs are against the wall for FPX for sure, but that dragon fight is here nonetheless. They're still trying to fight it, so I mean, hey, if you're digging a hole already, might as well get out another shovel and dig it even deeper. Get us to game number 3 at least. Get
there even sooner, you know. Let's play the BO3 out.
And
starting
see
up
what
the
Fearless
Drake
has to offer. I think this dragon, though, I mean, they are on a good position for it. Young does have a flank, though. I think it's a little tough. They're being pincered right now. And there's the Magnet Storm into the back line, too. And it's just a huge 3-man impaled, and it didn't matter.
Hold
FPX
on,
are fighting
hold on.
tooth and nail. But look at Wako. He's still alive. Saber is cleaning house, and Karen Sheer, the only ones left trying to dash away. But Saber and Wako, they still have their health bars. They still got everything. And they're going to try to find out Sheer here. They might be able to chase him down.
Sheer's going to go down. He may end up getting executed, but he will fall. Shield actually comes on through. Maybe he just walks it out, actually. But a 2 for 2 left on the people that are alive. It is going to be the Soul with the beneficial health bars for Ultra Prime. And a fight that looked so good, honestly, for FPX. That's about as good as you can expect for them to get. But now it gets harder and harder and harder. Timing.
No way. Okay.
I think he timed
it right. I like that they baited us.
Yeah. I think he timed it right, just aimed it wrong.
That is Infernal Soul, though, and you thought you saw Saber literally destroying the entire team last fight. It's going to be even worse the next time around. And this Akali pick's actually coming in super clutch for them.
Yeah, and again, it's one of these fights where you can see Assume once again largely free hitting. He gets out of the Magnet Storm, is able to take down Zhaozia. There's a good little impale as well, which keeps the fight at bay. But he just gets obliterated by one Akali combo. It's ulti Q into ulti, right? Like, there's very little that you can do as Desire when you've already used your Blade Caller to get away from one part of it. You're sort of going for a more of Malmortius third item, and then you're looking at the rest of the composition and thinking, well, that's just a massive waste of gold. So, what do you even do? You're just getting one shot by Akali on cooldown, and if you don't get killed by that, you've got Vi and Camille diving on you as well.
And now they're also losing structures on the map. Standing gold being picked up by Ultra Prime. Almost 3,000 gold up now, almost 25 minutes into. We have the Baron coming up in about 30 seconds, but really FPX, let's talk about how their ins are looking. Like, how do they find fights? What do they look for in these fights to find success? Because it just feels like they have a lot of meatballs.
Yeah, I mean, they have to look for big Impale into big Blade Caller. and then also have Sheer just do a little more than he is currently, unfortunately. The Ambessa is not quite hitting as hard as it needs to, and down 2 levels versus Young as well. Definitely could have stood a little bit more of the test of time through that side lane. But again, this is the notion of getting counter picked, is that Zhang probably very comfortable in this matchup, knowing that the Camille's going to do fine in that side lane. And you know, when she is TPing into plays, he's not quite finding the same purchase, not quite finding the right targets. Wako's still untouched really on this Ezreal, hasn't died yet. Tier 1 turret is standing still for FPX, and you have to imagine that Ultra Prime are going to try to do something about it. They cannot defend this here. Yes.
Oh, no, they cannot. Oh, but they're going to try to.
Oh, okay. Well, they call TPs in, so that's fine, right? Like, if they're going to use TPs to do that, but to start it off with, you've got Sheer, who was bot lane, Care, who was top lane, and now all that they're going to do as Ultra Prime is push one more wave and then do the same thing again. And, well, Assume's just taken half his HP from an ulti.
And that was one shuriken combo, by the way, on Jwei. So, yeah, we're seeing how much damage is done right now by Ultra Prime.
LDR finished up for Assume as that 3rd item, so not even with the Infinity Edge being picked up just yet. So that enhancement on the crit's going to be, you know, even further delayed, and the damage from the Xayah, not necessarily super lacking anymore. That extra bit of AD is going to be quite beneficial, but thinking about how much he's going to be able to stand and auto attack versus these carries, it's quite minimal.
And you know, the guy might be a little bit more of a veteran than some of the players that we have on the other side of things for Ultra Prime, but it's still something where Assume needs to step up to that level, especially on the Xayah. I think it's going to be a little bit difficult, but he is on those item spikes now, and one of the only advantages for FPX here, the Baron being pinged right now to get this vision off of it by Ultra Prime. Do we see them forcing the hand of FPX anytime soon?
I could see it, to be honest. I think they're actually far enough ahead to just play I call this the Mad Lions, where you just hit the Baron and watch the enemy team come to you. It's from a while ago, but yeah, this is, you know, just start hitting it, make them come to you, force the advantage. You have enough of one to make something work.
Well, they're doing exactly that. They have Jiang coming over as well, crossing mid lane now. Sheer is nowhere to be found. He's going to TP, but it's so far back. 3 hits across with
Saber!
the Tree-Shot Barrage, and Care's already fallen. FPX are falling apart here, and Sheer just goes with the public execution. He put himself on a stake and just put himself out there in the yard as Ultra Prime going for the Baron now. They should be able to just clean this one up.
Another 4 kills in the favor of Ultra Prime. This time round, they will secure the Baron as well. And Assume just cannot do the damage. Care cannot support either. And despite the best efforts of FPX to keep their carries alive, it's a great opening from Xiaojia. Starts off this fight, and that's all he needs to do. Saber immediately in on the backline. He gets charmed, he gets suppressed, but he just dashes and dances around and keeps himself alive. All the while, Assume's getting taken down by Junhao, and you can see how the Vi is full HP after that. It's nowhere near a close fight. And there's just not the time, not the pressure, not the help, not the support, not anything that FPX need to take this game.
Now you got Elder Dragon coming about 45 seconds. Don't think there's really much hope for the fight there for FPX. Maybe they'll throw themselves at the wall one more time. But we almost on 4 items there for Saber as well. And just looking at these big spikes, it is FPX. With Jwei already out there in the dragon side of things. But I guess, you know, you're going to lose anyways if you don't try to flip this one.
Yeah.
You're already losing your base, so why not try it?
Yeah, literally. Like, what's worse that's going to happen is you give Elder and then they end the game because they have Elder, or you fight them at Elder, they lose, and then they end the game, right? Like, at least if you fight them and you somehow pull off a miracle fight, right? Like, everybody on Ultra Prime disconnects, and you get the fight, there's no chrono break, we have a great little time, and you take the Elder. You can then maybe start to come back in this game, but if you don't go out there, you don't try and fight them for the Elder, you're just going to lose, and that's just a certainty. So, I mean, at the minute, it does look like it's just getting soloed out by Junhao, so it's a little bit of a waiting game, and one that ultimately FPX are going to lose if they wait too long.
And see now that FPX going to start this Elder Dragon up, losing their entire base for it. Just throw spaghetti at the wall, see what sticks. Saber's
Yep,
trying to
it's a
clean
flip.
up here. Oh, they're in it. Public execution is there. FPX are
Assume's already
losing
dead.
bodies, and they don't even. Oh, they actually don't. They do get the Elder, but they won't have any bodies left to have the buff.
Yeah,
and as we
okay.
foretold, as we saw, it is a 3-game series to promote into Ascend.
Ultra Prime take us to match point, and even us up in this series then. So 1 apiece for both of these two sides. The winner of this, again, will go on to the Ascend stage, and Ultra Prime not down without a fight, as always.
Indeed. Had to go to 3, couldn't go to 2, because Ultra Prime showed some of those moments in Game 1 that we were like, okay, this is why this series is so back and forth, and why FPX never really have full control of a game until they win, because these are some of those consistency issues bubbling to the top that we mentioned all day long.
And it's one of those games, again, FunPlus had a little bit of an advantage in that early game, right? But credit to Ultra Prime, because they snapped their fingers, and as soon as FunPlus overstepped just a little bit, they wrested control back of that game, and then from there never actually really let it go. I think they had FPX not fumbled underneath that top tier 1 turret, there's a real world where they could have taken this 2-0. But there's equally a world where they fumble somewhere else a little bit down the line, and the world that we're in here is where they fumble on that tier 1, Ultra Prime collapse, and get themselves up to now 1-1.
Yeah, and that's what's crazy is FPX like had a pretty solid start to it, but then just kept fumbling the ball for themselves, which I feel like is the story for a lot of our 3rd, 4th place teams from our groups. A lot of the case why we get to see these kinds of back and forth moments, and some of those groups getting a lot closer than maybe they should have been on paper. But now in this qualification setup, like this is what makes it fun. This is what gets us from those kind of best of 1s fully transitioning into best of 3s, best of 5s moving forward as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's what makes Fearless as well have that impact, and I do think that for Ultra Prime moving into a game 3, right, I think that they're probably coming in just a little more favored. I'm not certain of FPX's strategy going into this, but they need to try and rally, try and carry some of that momentum that they got from their game versus NIP yesterday, from their win earlier up against LGD today. So there's definitely roots for FPX. They found 2 wins already on today. They just need 1 more to send themselves into that Ascent stage, and to keep Ultra Prime questioning, I guess, a little bit.
A little bit. Try to figure out exactly, I guess, what consistency issues can be solved in the immediate future. Like, it feels so difficult, especially now with even more meta champions taken off the table, and we're getting kind of some spice from Ultra Prime in the way that they were drafting there, and the Akali and things like that, like leaving things open for that next setup in game 3 as well.
Yeah, and I think as well for Ultra Prime, like they've redone their roster for this split, and the idea that they've now brought in Zhao from BLG Junior as well to pair up nicely with Junhao, who they played together previously, and they've brought in imports from other regions as well, Zhong, Wako, 2 players that new to the LPL and had a really difficult time coming into split number 1, right? Like the first split for Ultra Prime was not a good one, but at least now they seem to have changed something. Something's just a little bit different for them, and they're putting themselves in what is ultimately a very good position to go into a top 10 finish.
True that. I'm really curious to pick your brain. Who you think gets MVP for this one? I think it has to be Saber.
I'd lean on Saber, to be honest. Junhao also had like a really solid game, to be honest with you, but I think that Saber, just for the spice and for the idea that he was so far behind, that he probably finds it. Zhao also did start a lot of the fights, so I'm also happy with how the rel mechanics this game were looking, and sort of timing wise on that, for when we're talking about the supports being really sort of fresh and new into the scene. That for Zhao was a very impressive game to play.
Yeah, it was. I think a little bit of praise deserved to the newest member, at least. But it was a lot of attempts from FP. I'm just looking at these moments like, man, they were just trying. They were just trying to find ways to make this comebackable. But Ultra Prime, these are the kinds of moments where, like, if you can get a lead like this and then show that you can confidently close it out, that gives you a little bit more build up in that momentum for sure.
Yeah, and it's like it's the good teams that will find themselves struggling in these games and then win it anyway. So good to see that. And then final replay of the Elder fight. Assume just what does he do, man? Like he's using Featherstorm and then gets literally just popped. I didn't even see his health bar. And Shadow, fairness to him, secures the smite. Jazia goes down, but yeah, that was far too little and unfortunately far too late as well.
Indeed. We're just waiting for the MVP. See who exactly the LPL themselves voted for. I think it has to be for Saber. I don't think I would. Like, there might be an argument. It's tough though. I just feel like those, like, to go down a little bit in that Akali matchup, but then to have, like, you're literally 100 to 0ing people left and right, feels really good for him, and especially after the Zed 1v1 earlier too.
It's retribution, right? Like it's that idea that, okay, well, I've been battered and bruised in the early game, but guess what, buddy? Does not matter. I'm playing Akali and I'm gonna own you.
Zed and Akali on the day. Let's go.
Yeah, and he's won on both of them. Like, let's give this guy an Orianna, see what he can do. Like what? Kled mid lane maybe.
Kled mid lane. Let's bring it out. I'm here for it. I do want to see what other assassins he brings out. Maybe the Zed does come back. I don't know. Maybe for a game 3. I think it would have to be a very particular comp. I do expect, FPX to be on the blue side for game number 3. So that does maybe open up things for the counter pick Zed or anything along those lines for Saber. But we'll be getting our MVP here very shortly. It is Jiang on the Camille that gets it. All right.
I think he did fine in the side lane. I don't know that he was the entire reason they won the game, but I think that's fine.
It's fine and dandy. That's all that matters.
That's
he
fine.
He shut down Sheer, and then, conversely, it just made it to where they just couldn't play the game. But that's it for game number 2 of this best of 3. We're going to be heading off to game number 3 after a break. We'll see you there.